Episode 9 of 19. If you're always the mirror, who's holding one up to you? What support looks like for the emotionally fluent. If you're always the mirror, who reflects you? This episode is for the ones who are strong, clear, and quietly alone in their emotional fluency. You're the deep one, the processor, the translator, the one who feels it all, maps it all, and rarely flinches. But when was the last time someone held you? When was the last time someone saw you, not just what you reflect in them? You've made a home in being the mirror, but even a mirror gets tired of showing everyone else their truth. You hold space for others' chaos, but who holds yours? You decode others' trauma, but who gently questions your own? You've mastered perspective, but that means no one checks on your pain because you already understand it. And that's not care, it is isolation in disguise. You've made peace with not being understood. But somewhere under all of that neutrality is grief. Grief that no one ever reaches back with the same depth. Grief that the mirror only gets cleaned, not cherished. Your emotional fluency doesn't mean you don't need support. It means you need different support. Less advice, more presence. Less reflection, more resonance. You don't need someone to fix you. You just need someone to see you, even when you're not performing wisdom. So here's the real question. If you've always been the mirror, who actually gets to look into you without you turning the glass back around? Section 1, the mirror archetype. You know this role too well. The mirror, the helper, the observer, the one who sees more than most, feels more than most, and carries it like it costs nothing. It's not random. Most mirrors are forged early, when the roles in your family blurred, when you had to be the one who noticed what no one else would say out loud. That's called parentification, when a child becomes the caretaker for their parent. Or maybe it wasn't that direct. Maybe you were just the one who figured out the unspoken rules first. You learned to translate tension into safety. You learned to keep the peace by reflecting everyone else back to themselves. You learned to survive by being clear when no one else could be. And people praised it. You're so strong. You're so wise. You're so good at understanding others. Validation became the drug. Clarity became the costume. And before you knew it, you weren't just someone who could hold the mirror, you were the mirror. But here's the trap. Once people decide you're the strong one, you stop being allowed to be anything else. Your insight becomes armor, your neutrality becomes camouflage, and your needs, they vanish into the background noise. Because mirrors don't get held, they get used. For a non-romantic example, let's say at work, you're the colleague who always has perspective, the one who smooths conflict in the meeting, the one who can explain the boss's behavior in a way that keeps everyone calm. But who notices when you're the one unraveling? Well, no one, because they assume you've already processed it. The mirror gets praised for being clear, but no one asks what it costs to stay polished. Section 2, the quiet isolation of emotional fluency. Here's the real curse of fluency. You articulate your pain so well, people forget you still feel it. You explain your own heartbreak so cleanly that no one thinks to ask if you need a shoulder. Your clarity becomes your mask. I'm the one who gets it slowly turns into I'm the one no one can reach. Your ability to name your patterns tricks people into thinking you've already healed them. You hold everyone else's chaos with grace, so they assume you never have chaos of your own. And when you do admit to struggle, it gets minimized. Wow, if even you're having a hard time, then I'm really screwed. Suddenly, your vulnerability becomes another service to others, proof of their own relative stability. Again, that isn't care, it's just isolation in disguise. For a family example, let's say you're the sibling everyone vents to, but when your grief shows up, silence. They're so used to you being the steady one that they literally just don't know how to respond. Remember, your insight is real, but when it becomes your mask, your pain becomes invisible. Section 3. What support actually looks like for you. Let's name this clearly. You don't need fixing, you need witnessing. You don't need advice, you need presence. The world is quick to offer feedback. Have you tried this? Maybe you're overthinking it. Stay positive. But deep support? That's someone who doesn't flinch when you stop making sense. It's someone who doesn't panic when your clarity falters, who can sit with you in rawness without rushing to tidy it up or being afraid of it. Support isn't someone mirroring you back, it's someone resonating with you. Not echo, resonance. The difference? Echo is your own voice bouncing back. Resonance is someone else's depth vibrating with yours. Again, for a non-romantic example, let's say you're burned out at work and finally admit it. The wrong support gives you strategies and podcasts. The right support shows up with food, sits on the couch with you, and doesn't need you to be wise. Mirrors don't need advice, they need resonance. Section 4. Why you rarely receive that support. Here's the brutal truth. You're not easy to support. Not because you're too much, but because you bypass surface-level attempts. Someone tries to comfort you with cliches, you see right through it. Someone offers shallow advice, you already ran that math before they open their mouth. Depth intimidates people. A lot. Your clarity makes them feel unqualified, so they default to the easy option, assuming that you've got it covered. And so, you become the lighthouse, always signaling, never docking. So let's look at a friendship example of this. Your friend shares their drama, you hold space. When you finally share yours, they laugh it off because they can't handle the seriousness. You're fluent in a language they never studied, so they change the subject. And you go home lonelier than before. People assume you don't need support because you're fluent in naming your pain, but fluency isn't immunity. Section 5. The grief of the mirror. Here's the part no one talks about. The grief. Because that's really what it is. The grief of never being held with the same depth you hold others. The grief of being cherished for your clarity, but not your mess. The grief of watching people polish the mirror instead of cherishing what's inside it. Somewhere under your practiced neutrality, there's ache. Ache for someone who won't need you to mirror them back. Ache for someone who can touch your rawness without looking away. And the worst part, a quiet belief that maybe this is just how it is. Maybe you're too rare. Maybe you'll never be matched. Maybe solitude is the tax for fluency. That belief, it's not truth. It's not true. It's your own grief talking. For a work example, let's say you're the one mentoring others, giving perspective, solving emotional knots. But when your own burnout hits, HR asks if you've thought about taking a day off. You realize they never even saw you. They only saw the mirror. Remember, even mirrors grieve, not because they break, but because no one sees beyond the reflection. Section 6. How to find real resonance, not just reflection. Here's the invitation. Stop downplaying your emotional needs. Stop coaching people through supporting you. Stop editing your rawness to stay palatable. The right people will not need a manual. They will not need your footnotes. Let yourself be unfiltered around the few who can hold it. And don't confuse strength with not needing intimacy. Your strength is real, but strength doesn't cancel the need to be seen. Being unfiltered may feel reckless, but it's how resonance finds you. Resonance cannot locate you if you're still performing neutrality. So let's say you're talking about your family. Instead of saying, "I'm fine," try telling the truth. "Hey, I'm not okay, and I don't need advice. Just sit with me." Some won't get it, but the ones who do, those are your people. So stop teaching people how to hold you. The right ones will know. Section 7. Closing. You are more than the mirror. Being the mirror isn't your curse. It's your gift. But even gifts need rest. Even mirrors deserve to be looked at without expectation. You are not a tool for others' clarity. You are a being worthy of being held in your full complexity. So if you've always been the mirror, here's the question. Who gets to look into you without you turning the glass back around? So let's get into some practical practice and reflection. Write down one situation where you downplayed your own need because you didn't want to burden anyone. Ask, what would it look like to tell the unedited truth next time? Not the palatable version, the real raw one. Remember, even the mirror needs to be seen. Not for what it reflects, but for what it is.